police are messing up this case of Senzo'S, right? And, you've got so many police that are taking the stand, and the least that we expect from police officers who took an oath, in that oath was that they're going to defend the peace of this country and they will be honest in the process. But now there are so many inconsistencies. Mokhwane said something very interesting, right? He said there was a time where Bongani Ntanzi consented to go with them wherever they were going. You know why? Bongani Ntanzi was going to get bored, and I was like, Mokhwane shouldn't have said this. Yeah, what is this? You shouldn't have said this. Like, honestly speaking, you shouldn't have said this. You know what? Number two, they get to a point where Bongani Ntanzi asks, what do you want to eat? He chooses KFC. It's like, okay, no problem. So you buy him food of his choice. 3, you handcuffed him because, you are a good cop, right? So since you're a good cop and he's cooperating, then, you handcuffed him, he eats, you know what I'm saying? So the picture that we get from that is that Bongani Ntanzi is not a threat, right? Follow me very carefully. Follow me very carefully, right? So the picture that you have just painted here is that Bongani Ntanzi is not a threat. So if Bongani Ntanzi is a threat, how come you need police officers to escort him as he is going to do a confession? How come you need heavily armed police to escort Bongani Ntanzi as he is making a confession? Because Bongani Ntanzi have just demonstrated before you that he's not a threat, he will not run away. So if 1 or 2 van, it's enough. You've been transporting him with 1 or 2 police vehicles. Why do you need specialized people that will come and guard Bongani Ntanzi when Bongani Ntanzi is doing a confession? Now you still want us to believe that Bongani Ntanzi will confess free and voluntarily. Somehow you prove beyond reasonable doubt that Bongani Ntanzi was not a threat. But when he does the confession, you now demonstrate that Bongani Ntanzi was so much of a danger. Well, not to mention the issue of dentist that does confirm, or in other words, it contradicts what was said in the house, that Bongani Ntanzi, according to the dentist report, did not have a gold tooth in his teeth, right? So if he did not have a gold tooth, then he does not fit the description given by them, the ladies or the people that were in the house, who said one of the accused had a gold tooth, right? So already you don't need Bongani Ntanzi, because Bongani Ntanzi has been confirmed that he never had a gold tooth. Boom! Guys, I said, we've got a discussion. We've got a journey here. We've got something to talk about. Provided that you're interested. Are you interested to take this journey with me? But you said, which journey, Bongani? And I said to you, the journey of, trying by all means to break down this truth and this so-called truth in this whole thing, right? Discover what Advocate Mchololo said today in Ngomezulu. Are you interested then? If you are, then let's take this journey. As we take this journey, before we take off, there are a few things that I'm requesting from you guys. Number 1, I put it to you that you subscribe. You look the video, you comment in the comment section below, you watch this video until the end. You also watch the ads. It does help out a lot. I put it to you that you make use of the button, the thanks button. You can donate from as little as 20 Rand a month. I put it to you that you can join, become a member of this YouTube channel. Now, today, what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna read much into what Advocate Mngomezulu said, because some of the things that were said by Mngomezulu, truth be told, I don't want to waste the data. Some of the things that he said was more or less a repetition of the things that was said yesterday. So with that, I don't want to waste your data. Some of the things that he said yesterday, I did it on that video. Today, though, there are few things that I want us to notice that were said by this guy. Now, we found him with his girlfriend, Mutswana girlfriend. I told him, look, he was a suspect in the Nongoma case of murder where a gun was discovered. I then read him his constitutional right and arrested him. That is Satan Mokhwane. This same Mokhwane that, as we go forward, you're going to realize that Mokhwane, uMokhane uthi they made the arrest at night. We were informed. We informed him. We were police, and we opened. He opened for us. When we got inside, we found him with his Tswana girlfriend. We informed him he was a suspect in the case of Gonongoma, where his gun was found. Where a gun was found. Now, please note again, this case of Nongoma, it keeps coming up, right? But Advocate Mshololo, she does a damage on this thing. I'm mad. She does a damage. She came from a different angle, and I was like, unexpected. But let me tell you this. If you're looking at what's happening in the stand, you will see Advocate Ngomezulu dealing with these people. Then, when the judge asks, okay, when Ngomezulu is done, the judge will ask Mnisi, do you have any cross-examination? He's like, no. No. Ever ready, Mshololo, do you have any cross-examination? And then she jumps in. But whenever she jumps in, she comes from a different angle. And I know a lot of you guys will ask the question, maybe you will say, it's because she's been a prosecutor for the state before, and now we'll say the same thing with Advocate Mnisi, that he's been a prosecutor for the state. But when it comes to Mshololo, there's never a day where Mshololo says, I don't have a cross-examination. Sometimes she will ask 1 or 2, 3 questions, but there's never a day where Advocate Mshololo does not have a question. You know what I'm saying? That's why then I call her the ever-ready one. Ever-ready. Advocate Mshololo. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so you explained this right, and then we informed him, blah blah blah. Since we were aware, it was aware, or blah blah blah. Our informer had given us this information about him. We arrested him, blah blah. So that's not basically what I'm looking for, right? So now pay attention to this. Now there is a Nongoma case, and then in the same story, we hear Nongoma comes into the picture, right? Then there's a place called Phokeng, which I think is in Rustenburg. It also comes into this, right? So pay attention to this now. Phokeng, Nongoma, Vosloorus. These are the places that that has got to do with Undanzi, right? They play a very critical role, or they will somehow decide the case for us. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to these 3 places. Yeah, and then, okay. So, hi man, this mic, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? Today I'm in the spirit and the mic is off the spirit. Okay. Now, there's something that happened in court today, which is going to make, this is going to throw away the confession, right? So what happened is, Advocate Mngomezulu, he gives Sejan Mokhane, because Sejan Mokhane has been so confident about the fact that he read a statement for accused number 2, and he read him his right and explained him, and then he picked one and say, listen, can you read this? Aye. This guy, remember, he is a paid by birth, right? Now he is asked to read. Angichi said that he read all these things and he understood. When you start reading and you're like, hey, what a disaster. Even the judge can tell that this the Lokobongani Ntanzi's rights even if they were read, it just made it clear that whatever they did there, an interpreter was necessary, because I was listening to him reading that and I was like, hey, man, what is this guy saying? Like, honestly speaking, what is this guy saying? I'm telling you, right? That's why I was like, you know what? This police was not supposed to testify, because I like one thing about him. At some point, he was very respectful. At some point. Somehow you can feel that, hey, the heat is getting onto him now. He wants to get away with it. He wants to start disrespecting these people. And it's a strategy, by the way. When you start disrespecting them, it's a way of intimidating the defense. You understand? So at some point, at some point he was asked, Uguti, when you started asking him look, about the Nongoma case, I used English, Zulu, and Tswana to communicate with him. Mapena, I asked him, Mapena, and I asked him what he knows about the Nongoma matter case. We also asked him about his matter. We told him that an informant told us that, right? So an informant, so it is in this case. You understand? It is in this scenario where he said he used English, Zulu, and Tswana. Now, please bear in mind, who is Ntanzi? Ntanzi is a Zulu guy, right? From Gwanongoma. Now, Ntanzi was found with a Tswana girl. In essence, what he's saying is that Ntanzi has got an understanding of Tswana because he was found with a Tswana girl. The question that we need to understand is, what language did they use to communicate? Because somebody can be a Sotho person, but you find that when they are in this environment, they communicate with in isiZulu, right? I've dated a girl from between these two things, between these two, like I've been with a girl from Limpopo, I've been with a girl from Lesotho. Lesotho, you understand what I'm saying? And most of the time we wouldn't communicate in isiSotho, but we will use either isiZulu or English. You know what I'm saying? That will be a medium of communication between me and these two people. Though I can hear Isipedi, but doesn't necessarily mean that I can hear everything that is said in Isipedi. Though I can hear isiSotho, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I can hear everything. There are words that I'll be like, what do you mean here? You know what I'm saying? So, for the benefit of accused number 2, even if then he understood isiSotho or isiTswana, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are given the right, especially in matters that are so crucial as this one. You can't use a language that is not of his choice. Can I demonstrate that to you so that you can understand where I'm coming from, and where I'm going? Where I'm going. Let me say this. I want to say this in a manner that you can understand. So take Sergeant Mokwane himself. He gets to court. He's asked, which language do you prefer using when you are testifying? Guess what? He preferred his own language. Why? Because he can only hear things better and understand better things and understand better when things are communicated in his own language, and he can only be efficient when he communicates back in his own language. But when it comes to accused number 2, he does not use his own language to communicate. It does not use the language that accused number 2 understands better, so that the communication can flow. Do you get where we're going? So if you can take these or the things that I've just told you, you can actually tell that accused number 2 did not understand what was going on, because the language that was used thereon was a foreign language to him, was a language that was still learning. Chances of him not understanding a language that he was learning are very high. So things that he might think he understands, when you start asking him thoroughly, it might come clear and vivid to you that he did not understand those things. Do you understand what it means? It means that he might have agreed to things that he did not understand, because they were communicated in a language that he did not understand. Do you understand what I'm saying? Why is Sergeant Mokwane using his own language in court, not using isiTswana, a language that he claims he knows? Why is he using isiPedi? Do you get what I'm saying? It means that he himself is not fluent in isiTswana. He's not comfortable to speak isiTswana. So why are we supposed to take him or to take his word when he say he used isiTswana to communicate? Why? To get a point what I'm saying? If you see this, then you can actually come to a clear point that, you know what? The language, also everything that they said they did here wasn't correct. I'm telling you, I am seeing Tanzi walking free from this whole thing. And the people that have dismantled this case, it is the police themselves. They are not doing justice to themselves in this case. I don't know if you see what I'm saying. Just by how they communicated, just by the language that was used, that alone, it tells us a lot. You know, good people, guys. Okay, I'm just looking at I'm just making sure that I'm not leaving some of the things that were said by advocate, look, things that were new that I noticed that were said by advocate Mgomezulu, because most of the things that were said here, we already know them. That my instruction is that immediately after with Colonel Ginda left, the accused, look, the assault, look, you assaulted accused number 2. So we already. We've heard that, you understand? So we've heard about the investigation that were done in Albertine. We've heard about the cars that were traveling to Albertine. We've heard about them. Some of the things were just a repetition of this. You understand what I'm saying? But what was new today was that when accused number 2 was bored, he will just go free with the police. I was like, wait a minute. Well, that alone, guys, that's another. Do you notice that I said the language? Just on the language itself, we can conclude that whatever was read to him was wrong. I've demonstrated that I don't need to. The second key part, we can demonstrate this before the court, that accused number 2 was actually not a threat. So there was no need for all these sort of police that were there. If you can come to that conclusion that there was no need for all this police to be there, then you can actually conclude that the confession made by accused by Bongani Ntanzi was under duress. When Advocate Mshololo says look, bringing these people together was actually was a way of intimidating him to say, if you don't do what we expect you to do, we will continue doing what we've been doing behind the scenes, which is to torture you, shoot you, and all the stuff. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It was a form of intimidation, if you get what I'm saying. Because you've just demonstrated before the court that he was not a threat. At some point, he was walking free, traveling with you, whilst you are doing your own things. He was not a threat. You can never do that to a person who's considered dangerous, like Thabo Baxter, like Nande Pamakutumane, because you have seen that they are dangerous, so you can't travel with them anyway. So you portray Ntanzi as the same person as with Dr. Nande Pamakutumane, a person who has a potential of fleeing the country. Okay, let me demonstrate this so that you can understand exactly where I'm coming from. Do you remember that when it comes to Dr. Nande Pamakutumane and Thabo Baxter, the correctional service complained about the fact that when it comes to these two people, when you transport them, you need preparedness. And I remember myself making a video, saying in that video, it makes sense what the state is saying, because these people have proven that they've traveled from South Africa to Tanzania. So there is a chance that they can skip the country, and you don't know if you are going to transport them on the ground all the way from Pretoria to Bloemfontein, where they need to appear before the court. I'm talking about Thabo Baxter. I think he's at Hoshimampur, right? So if you're going to transport him on the ground, it's going to be difficult for him. Look, you might get ambushed. Do you remember me saying that? You know what I'm saying? Because when it comes to the Thabo Baxter and Dr. Nande story, I am with the state there. But when it comes to Senzo'S case, I'm with the defense. You know what I'm saying? And the accused. It's funny that I'm about to go in contrast with my favorite advocate, one of my favorite advocates in this defense, which is Mshololo, because wow, in the Thabo Baxter, I'm against her as well. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, so we see the picture being painted in Dr. Nande Pamakutumane and Thabo Baxter story. The picture is clear that these are dangerous people. They need you to escort them. They have demonstrated in this country that they are capable of hiring people that will ambush the police and take them away. So they appear visual. There is a demonstration and there is enough evidence to believe that if you are to transport them in any way, shape, or form, that you can get ambushed and taken away. But when it comes to Ntanzi, there is enough evidence to believe that he is not a threat, because at some point he was let free. He was allowed to eat. You traveled with him when you were doing other errands. Do you get a point? That's a demonstration that Bongani Ntanzi was never a dangerous person. Why escort him with heavily armed people like SWAT team, that now we can actually conclude that you were intimidating him. That was a strategy from you to intimidate Bongani Ntanzi. Do you get the point? I am saying the police open up themselves. They have opened a can of worms by admitting to certain things, because we take what they say and we're looking at them microscopically, and we can say that here, I corner. No. I nyala. I disagree big time. But I captured certain comments. Probably people see things the way I do. You're gonna hear me reading their comments. Mshololo then said, you know what? I will need, give me this witness. Mokhwane, I need him. Then Mshololo asked this question. What category did Nongoma case fall under? It's under investigation. We also help. Do you notice that that was not the answer that is needed here, right? Mshololo, was it referred to you as under undictated, or it was or for what reason? Mokhane, everything arrives at the desk of Ginda. Notice this, yeah, guys. Ginda is being referenced from A to Z. Tell me a police that, look, if you count the number of police, if you have 10 police that have testified in the Meyiwa case, chances are 7 to 8 of police will reference Ginda. Only 2 probably wouldn't reference Ginda. I'm making in comparison or in ratio. So Ginda is a main figure here. And there's a reason why I'm saying that. I've looked at Twitter, I've looked at my comment, I looked at my the WhatsApp group, right? People are saying when Ginda is appearing, they want to go to court, they want to see this Ginda. You know what I'm saying? But again, Mokhane says he has no idea why they were asked to get involved in the Nongoma case. Only he, Ginda, he says he knows what is happening, and then they were requested to assist, at least. Have you testified to court before? Advocate Mshololo was asking. Mokhane says, yes. Mshololo, if I ask if there was a request, you either say you know or you don't know. Mokhane, I am unable to answer all requests arrive at Guinea. I was like, Mshololo mgenele. Mgenele. Oh, some people are not from South Africa. Okay, what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? I can't translate what I'm saying, guys. Forgive me. Now, Brigadier Ginda will come and give the explanation. We are not privy to why the matter was brought to him. I've got a problem. If any of you in court, any court, GP, Judge President, I've got a problem with us using certain words such as privy, what. In court, we should use full words. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's the same reason that Advocate Mshololo complained to the court about Advocate Mshololo using Africans. He said, when use Africans, the witness must use English. You know what he says? He says, you need to give the benefit of, other people must understand you very clearly. Yes, the witness must maintain her right to testify in Afrikaans. To get a point. If in the same breath, people in court must use proper language. They must use words fully. I've noticed that they've got the tendency of using this word privy, what they need to use full language. If it's stopped, they mustn't find abbreviation. They must use word stopped. You know what I'm saying? If it's go. If it's prepared, they must use word prepared. Don't use shortcut. In a professional setup, you don't use shortcut. I have a problem and grievance against the court for allowing the word, even the judge used the word privy. I have a problem with that. Professionally, you're not supposed to be using shortcuts or words like that. But let's continue. When you were asked to be part of the investigation team, is that in that case, when were you asked to be part of the investigation in that case? He says in January 2020. The accused number 2 was arrested under the Nongoma case, and and all the occurrence you booked him out and have not seen you indicate you you booked him under the Nongoma case and all the stuff. So this. Remember I said there was there's Pokeng, which is in Rustenburg, I think. There is Nongoma, which is in KZN. There's Fostoras, which is in Joburg. These are the places where accused number 2 appears in, right? Now, notice why accused number 2 is interrogated. Notice that. Why is being investigated, right? There are cases that he's investigated for, but when he appears for different cases. I just want to read comments before I continue. I'm going to go back to this point. And that's where you're going to notice that there's a reason. I believe everything that has been said upon Danzi so far, Danzi is not guilty. This is me. But let me continue. As I put it to you, that I believe Danzi should be freed. You know what I'm saying? Should walk free. So somebody wrote, Spirit Quincha, it says, one time the police are friends with the accused. They even share food, meaning there are times which they uncuff him so that he can eat. But on the times the accused is a dangerous criminal who needs guards and escort where he goes. Hi, Kunzim. That's exactly my point. How do you have just demonstrated that Bongani Ntanzi is not a threat. The next thing you want to demonstrate, guys, it's a contrast of the narrative that is being painted here. 2 minutes ago, you're painting the idea that these people are dangerous people. 2 minutes later, you are painting the narrative that these people are just dumb. Which narrative do you want us to believe on? Let's continue. According to Mokwane, they didn't have a problem in driving around with Ntanzi for 12 hours. But on the day of an alleged confession, they need heavily armed Metro Police to escort him. Exactly my point. Sorry, guys. The accused alleges that the document he was forced to sign had blood stains. However, the one circulated was typed. Sergeant Mokwane agrees that he shred the statement because it was illegible, actually hiding that he had blood stains. I don't know if you see what this guy is saying. Guys, torturing of Bongani Ntanzi finally confirmed by the discovery document from a dentist. Sergeant Mokwane denied torturing Ntanzi, but agreed to taking him to a dentist. What for? Advocate Mgomezulu has just confirmed that Ntanzi was induced to confess by torturing him. The reason he was taken to the dentist was to confirm that Bongani Ntanzi did he have gold tooth or not. So upon the confirmation that there was no dentist, therefore it disagreed with the narrative painted by those in the house when Senzo'S was killed. And the narrative is that one of the intruder, which they believe is Bongani Ntanzi, had a gold tooth. You know what I'm saying? The dentist says nothing. There was nothing. So it's not Bongani Ntanzi that was in that house. Do you get where we're going? Let me read another comment. Okay, he says Ntanzi was arrested for a short time for the Nongoma case, 16 June 2020, right? So from then until he was charged on 26 October 2020, what was he arrested for? At Simpiwe Kumalo, the problem here is simple. When we ask such questions, it said that we are defending criminals. And I said to people, guys, there's a problem here. My problem is that, guys, there's a problem here. What was Bongani Ntanzi arrested for? Please tell me. But nevertheless, it's fine. I'm going to continue. If you check, we only held him for a short time with regards to the Nongoma case. Do you remember the question that I've just asked now? Somebody asked now. Good, okay. That one was now dismissed. From June until October, what was he arrested for? Because that case was dismissed. Even the man himself here, he confirmed that if you check, we only held him for short time with regards to the Nongoma case. Then Mshololo asked this question, from when to when? Now listen carefully. From the 16th of June to the 22nd of June. Pay attention to this one, right? So you held him from the 16th of June to the 22nd of June for the Nongoma case, right? It gets dismissed. Mohandas is not, it was acquitted in that case. From the 22nd of June to October, when you charge him for the Meiwa, what was he arrested for? That's the question that was asked, which I'm interested to get an answer for. Because some of us, there's a comment that I'm going to read. The comments that are tormenting us, but it's fine. Let's continue. When you arrested him on the Nongoma case, you didn't have a warrant of arrest? Mokhwana says yes. When he was detained, were the right explained to him? Mokhwana says yes, I gave it to him. For Nongoma, did you look for Nongoma? Yes, I gave it to him. For Nongoma, did I miss that? Please explain it. Let me read these comments for you, because it's interesting. At the end, the truth will come to light. If this trial was not covered by media, these guys would have been in jail. Do you disagree with that? I concur with Senzo'S. She said, no, if this case was not covered by the media, definitely these guys would have been arrested long time ago, and they would have been not arrested because they would have been sentenced long time ago. Somebody says, Mokhwana is giving the impression that he and Danzo were buddies. If he was assaulted, he will told me. Earlier he said they brought him food of his choice. Also, they drove around with him because he will be bored if they took him to his cell. Oh! I don't want to comment on this one. I'm coming to this one. Right. Mokhwana is lying. He says he started being involved in the case at the beginning of 2020. Previously, he stated locating the whereabouts of the accused towards the end of 2019 until early 2020. Detectives were at work. Twitter detectives were busy working hard there, and boom! And they think me now, sometimes I'm the only problem. No, you've got people in this country. Hey man, they are doing the work here. It's just that I'm probably the prominent one. I don't know, on YouTube, I don't know. But people are doing the work here. Like, there are a lot of people that are doing the work here. But let's continue. I will say this again. There are accounts that were created for this case. Their angle is to make sure everyone believes the accused are guilty. If you don't buy that, you are the problem. Guys, this person here is telling you guys the truth. I've been telling you guys that I've been facing death threats. It's been difficult. At some point, remember that I didn't have access to my own WhatsApp because it was hacked. You know what I'm saying? And there are a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes where I'm being threatened left, right, and center. So other people have even taken to WhatsApp privately. So they've told me that, you know what, stop this thing. You know what I'm saying? Believing there's people like that's how far they are willing to go. You know what I'm saying? To prove their innocency. You know what I'm saying? In a way. So the accounts that he's speaking about that were created to prove that these are guilty. are there. We have seen them even on the SAPC, as you are watching the proceeding of this case. You can tell that really there are accounts that are promoting that ideology. So yeah, the problems of these accounts, guys, it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing that we are facing. You know what I'm saying? At some point, I will look at people dealing with those comments and all the stuff, and I'll see people defending me on the comment section below on YouTube, on my YouTube account. But on Twitter, they are there after me. You know what I'm saying? And then on WhatsApp now, that's how personal these people are, and they want to make sure that they intimidate you. At some point, I received certain threats on Twitter, even on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? But Twitter being Twitter, you'll be like, but it gets personal. You know, somebody had it even to share with me how to see if people are tracking me now using my own devices, because that's how hectic it has become. Right? Let's continue. Somebody commented and said, who asked Mohane about the new model BMW? Is this not the confirmation Ginda is using a white BMW? How will Ntanzi know Ginda is now using a BMW, a white BMW? Remember, it has been collaborated, because yesterday he tried to deny that Ginda uses a BMW. He said that Ginda doesn't have a BMW. But the very same guy, then he was asked, okay, does that mean that, look, Ginda does not have the state has not given Ginda a white BMW? He then confirms the BMW. It is on record. He confirms the BMW, and I was like, oh. So Mohane is not lying about the white BMW, because Sejan Mohane confirmed the BMW. You know what I'm saying? The case is no longer about Senzo'S. It was about Brooke Ginda saving the skin and their bosses. Yeah, I'm not gonna comment, because whatever I say, hey, other people are after my, you know what I'm saying? We're just talking about Ntanzi being born and being taken. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Mohane is a good man. He bought the suspect food. He also felt he's going to be lonely and bored in his sales. I don't know if you see with this question, the sarcasm in the question itself, to say, wow, you are a good man, yes. Come on, man. I still can't believe Mohane said accused will get bored in sales. Is he their friend? You see, that's the problem that we are struggling with, to say, wait a minute. So, you guys are so kind to criminals that you travel to dangerous criminals that, guys, this story is contradictory, man. Come on, I want to leave it here. Okay. Rata, let the witness answer. I can't remember that. Let the witness answer. If he can't remember that on his own, it means that he's lying. Mshololo is shooting out. Okay, so Mshololo, the judge tried to answer, and Mshololo said no. Can the answer come directly from the witness? I get what you are saying, my lord. It's fine, but I need the answer to come from the witness. And I'm glad Mshololo did that. You know what? It does. Because we want to know whether or not there is truth in what the witness is saying. So since we want to know whether there is truth or not truth in what the witness is saying, if the judge answers on behalf of the witness, or the prosecutor answers on behalf of the state prosecutor, answer questions on behalf of the witnesses, that means you can't hold the witnesses against such words. You know what I'm saying? But if it comes from him, then you can also hold him accountable for what came out of his mouth. Do you get the point? That was the importance of that. This following question says, Baloy is confused, Liang. This evidence does not make sure Okay, but no, he stood up. You know what I think he was doing, man? I think he wasn't confused, but he was looking at how much Advocate Mshololo is coming hard on this guy and how much Advocate Mshololo is aggressively pushing this guy towards the corner. And he realized that this guy needs a little bit of breather. So I might as well object. And when I object, it's going to give this guy a little bit of breather. Then it's going to come back, then he will regroup. That could have been the state's strategy to actually diffuse the situation a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not for to give him a little bit of break so he can gather his thoughts. Because wow, Advocate Mshololo was on him. That woman was busy destroying this man. That woman was busy destroying this man big time. But let's continue. Why Ginda was involved in every single case for these two guys, even Nongoma case. Hey, at King's Stelo, I am with you there, man. I'm with you. But let's not talk too much. That's what is Kuluma Kakulu Stelo. That Nongoma case 163 is non-existent. Tomorrow there will be another story. Ginda's working overtime, cooking evidence against. Take note of this comment, right? In other words, I need to remember that during a pre-trial conference, right, you hand over the documents that you're going to be using against the accused. But in this case, we're seeing documents coming in the middle of the trial, right? That is why Attorney Tobane says, for the first time in this case, the defense have to prove the innocency of the beyond reasonable doubt. He's like, no, that's a vice versa. And I agree with him right there. But nevertheless, it appears like there is an evidence that is being brought on a day-to-day basis. And you're going to get what I'm trying to say in a minute. Right. I just love how Advocate Mshololo approaches Ama Boys Ginda. So there's a picture of Advocate Mshololo handling, not advocate, but a person handling another person, like this. You know what I'm saying? Washing. So there's that picture. Everyone catches hands, even the judge at times. For all the cases that were thrown at Ntanzi are not active in any court, dismissed or not enrolled or not related to Ntanzi, he was overwhelmed. He was kept in. You see, that could have been a strategy, by the way, to say, you know what, in order for us to overwhelm him, let's create more cases. So that when we say, this is a case against, there's this case against you, this case against you, this case against you, this case against you, he end up being overwhelmed by all these cases, you know what I'm saying? And he will eventually admit to something. That is what that could have been a strategy, allegedly. By the way, take everything that I've said with a pinch of salt and use the word allegedly. That's going to save you a lot. Let's continue. Apparently, the wife of General Philani Ndlovu, who was the head of investigators in the Senzo'S trial, has been shot dead. General Ndlovu was a witness in this ongoing trial. The wife of Mrs. Nonhlanhla Ndlovu. Hey, guys. We need to track this. There could be truth in this one. For now, let's just take this with a pinch of salt and use the word allegedly. But this word does not give me peace. Let me repeat. Ngingusa says, apparently the wife of the late General Philani Ndlovu, who was the head of investigators in the Senzo'S trial, has been shot dead. General Ndlovu was a witness in this ongoing trial. The wife is Mrs. Nonhlanhla Ndlovu. Do you guys know anything about this? You? Ngomezulu says the dentist report indicates that Ntanzi never wore a gold tooth. Contradicts the evidence of those in the house who said one of the suspect had a gold tooth. If they had it, it was not Ntanzi. At Simpuwa Kumano, I see you. Bongani Ntanzi must sue the hell of us out of the South African Police Service. That's how it's written. Don't say Bongani, you acted worse. That's exactly how it is written. If possible, he must also open a criminal charges against all the police who tortured him and also sue them privately to get their pension funds. I am on the, hey, you are personal when you are personal when. Right. I like how Ngomezulu handled Baloyi and the judge. When Ginda takes the stand, we must all go to court and see him and attend the proceeding. Do you remember I said something about Ginda and I said Ginda is all over, is mentioned, and I said note this. This is what people are saying. And you must check on the WhatsApp, people are interested to know when Ginda is appearing. On Twitter, people are interested to that. Like, you read comments, people are interested to see Ginda. Yeah, I've never seen people so interested to see Ginda like these ones. You know, if people were told that Ginda is coming tomorrow, I'm expecting the court to be full that day because it appears like everybody wanna know and wanna see Ginda themselves. For the why, I don't know. Ginda, please don't ask me what why people are looking for you or they wanna see your face. For the why, me don't know. You know what I'm saying? Even the case in Pokeng, Tabana it was dismissed, right? As I said, all those cases against Ntanzi were fabricated to overwhelm him. Ultimately, goal was to intimidate Ntanzi. That's Simpuwa Kumalo. Kumalo, I get what you are saying. Msholola, the entry in relation to the Foslor's court matter says accused released, and you are also the one who read that entry into record. Mokwane says yes. When the right were read, he said, look, it said he will be taken to court in 48 hours. Nongoma case. Mokwane says yes. Msholola, was he taken to Nongoma court? Mokwane says no, he was not taken there. Please notice this. It says he was released. Remember, he appeared there 22nd of October, and that's when he was released. From the 22nd of October, remember the question that was asked, from the 22nd of October, of June until October, we want to know what was Ntanzi arrested for, because on October, he then get charged for the Meyiwa case. Look, from June until October, what was he arrested for? That is what South Africa. And it's not even South Africa, guys. The people who are watching this channel, they are from China, England, UK, let me say UK, United States of America. I've got people in Sweden. I've got people in Swaziland. I've got people in Lesotho. By the way, from South Africa, which is the majority of my audience comes from, can you guess the second audience? They come from Botswana. Botswana is the second in terms of majority of people that watch my channel. It's South Africa, then Botswana, then the other countries follows. So it shows there's interest. Look, I was talking to a person who's working for a correctional service in Swaziland. You know what I'm saying? As well as I was talking to a person who's working for a department or an intelligence department in UK. You know what I'm saying? I had a person who was working for intelligence department in UK. They have an interest in this case. You know, it just tells you about the magnitude of this case, how people view this case. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Hey, like other police and other correctional services, other intelligence department in all over the world, they are watching this case. But let's continue. But you didn't have a warrant of arrest to detain him after he was released in Foslorus when his case was not enrolled. Other than that, there was no other case he was arrested for. Remember the point I made. What was he arrested for? from 22nd of October until from 22nd of June until October, when he was charged for the Meyiwa murder, he was kept in a cell for what? That is what Advocate Mshololo was asking. Mshololo, he was the accused released after after the case was entered into the court and enforced. I've already covered that. No, why not? Like I said, there were other cases he was still investigating, like ongoing, like, you know what I'm saying, like the one of the hoodie and blah blah. But still, you know what I'm saying, you couldn't there was no warrant to keep him there. In other words, he was detained illegally. That's where Advocate Mshololo was going, and I understood what she was saying. You know what I'm saying? So Mshololo then maybe let me ask this few things. But it was quite interesting where Mshololo was going. You know what I'm saying? Mokwana, on the 17th, we were still doing the investigation, the investigation that was still going on about the people who killed Meyiwa. Like I said, there were other cases he was being investigated against the accused Mshololo. But you see, you confuse him in the boardroom. The state objected, because you called him for the Monongoma case, but then you also, you know what I'm saying? There are so many cases. Do you remember what people were saying about it? You know what I'm saying? Mshololo, but he was not detained on case 336. When you interviewed him in the boardroom, Mokwana even agreed and said, yes, Mshololo, so how come you arrested him for the case, for one case, and then interviewed him for a different case? You know what I'm saying? That you never arrested him for. That was a strategy to confuse the man. You know what I'm saying? Mshololo, he was interviewed on a matter he was not charged for and was not detained for. That was the argument from Mshololo. Then Mshololo said, no, I want to take this witness. When I demonstrate something, I'm asking for a postponement. Whenever Mshololo asks for a postponement, you must know she's up to something. I'm definitely sure she's up to something. She wants to demonstrate something to us. I trust that advocate. You know what I'm saying? I really trust that advocate. So that is how we ended today. We ended today on fire. And I'm hoping tomorrow we'll start on fire again. But nevertheless, as we start today on fire, I've got a few videos that I want you to watch. You know what I'm saying? For me, this is where I end. But there are other videos that are coming up here that I want you to watch. Right? Till we meet again, you good people, please take care.
The principle of law in terms of Section 35 of the Constitution 108 of 1996 prescribes that any arrested person, is referring to any arrested person, must be brought before a court of law. Formally, he is arrested because he made a confession on the 19th of June. That's why the state established a prima facie case. He is arrested. The Constitution provides a right that must protect the accused, that he must be brought to court within 48 hours. As per your entry, I'm making submission, as per the entries or the exhibits, there's nothing on the exhibits that records case number 636 of 10/2014 that has been recorded on the occurrence book. Number two, in the absence of such recordings, a confession, that means my submission is that if that confession was made at the police station, there was going to be an entry. But because the version of the accused person says it was made at Orlando, that is the reason why we don't have that entry, because it was made in an open area. Do you understand it?
Yes, I do understand you.
So,
can I answer you?
In conclusion, before you go to, I want to emphasize the right that has been infringed of not bringing accused number 2 to court within 48 hours. In the nutshell, both confessions by accused number 2 were not freely and voluntarily given by accused number 2. And it's my instruction. And my instruction further is that from the day he was arrested on the 16th of June until or up to the 24th, when the alleged confession was taken, he was not in a rightful state of mind because of the assaults.
I don't go to June 24 or more battling Usaine Kamhelo Yamlatu Ubasa Asi Modikelon Jeribusika or Buffalo Bamuti.
But I'm going to give you what I got 16, like 20, 24 hours. Or Nasata or Tapila or Vasali, who I like Java with Milo, Radelo Rabbit or during mental during Chuparum electrifies. And so now, Tabasapila, you know.
Well, so let me put it this way. If this person had been assaulted from that day, from the 16th to the 24th, and being choked and with all that assault, was he still going to be the same as he is now? Now, I'm going to so I'm class 16 from class 24. They look at for no plastic candle. Shoot twice a below Faga, Bopisa now case, shooting and Bella. The Senzo'S was good.
Sorry, is the word which you used, Natlas and Apela? Did you use that word?
Well, already Ubasata Apila.
Yes, the interpreter, I understand most of these languages. Tell it as it is. It says, if you are subjected to such chopping, assault, etc., would he still be alive? Is that how you are putting it, sir?
Oh, bagging and Bella wines or Gonka shower by saying, okay, Safa when they show Bezo Kubere is appeal.
Kendall, I'm interested in the ERT police. What did you call them?
EMPD.
EMPD.
Yes.
When was the first time you saw them?
In the CSC, my lord. The church office is so small, so they were standing just almost at the door of the cells.
Lama EMPD ke ngawabona ke e-church office ngoba ke incane ke i-church ngathi babemi nje emnyango ke wayo masel.
And that is before you signed out Mr. Sibia.
That's correct, my lord.
Kwangaphambi kokuthi ngiyomkhipha ke ngimsayindele out Mr. Sibia.
When you signed out Mr. Sibia and you were working with him to room 31, you say 30?
31, my lord.
31. Did Mr. Sibia actually see those police?
On our way to
yes,
no,
to
no.
your office.
I don't think so, man.
You don't think so?
Angicabanga ukuthi ke Mr. Sibia wawabona ke lawo maphoyisa uma ngiphuma naye ke siya kulelo office lelo.
Right. Now at the scene, okay, of the pointing out, you say there were what police?
There was only that Metro Police
About how many
marked car. There were 2 cars.
2 cars, you said. 2 cars.
Yes,
there were
ma'am.
4, you say 2.
Yes.
Right.
Babe u4 ke bona ke lapha ke scene behamba ngemoto embili kwakuyibona nje babe lapha.
Could Mr. Sibia see them?
Because they were not very far, my lord, you could have seen them. Because they were in the vicinity, but not in the distance that he could not see them.
Babe ngekho ke ibanga ke la wangathi khona ka ngeke angeze ababoneke babe khona ke nje kuleyo ndawo.
Were they in uniform?
They were in uniform, my lord.
right?
babegqoke ke
And the
impahla
police vehicles,
zomsebenzi.
the two police vehicles, were they marked?
It was marked vehicles, my lord.
Right?
Nale moto babehamba ngazo kwakuyimoto ke
At any
ebhaliweyo.
stage, Mr. Sibia said to you, those are the people who assaulted me.
At no stage has he ever mentioned
Didn't make
any
that
assault to
allegation.
me. Yes.
Those are the people who threatened me, who forced me, who choked me, who assaulted me.
No, my lord.
They didn't make those allegations.
Akukho ke la ashilo ke khona abakhombe athi labayana yilaba ke bangifaka iTube abang-assaulta ababengisabisa.
So those police in that two vehicles, they accompanied you again towards the police station.
That's correct, my lord.
Mase sibuyela futhi ke muva e-police station baphinde ke bahamba nathi.
And at the police station, did they join you when you were booking in, Mr. Sibia?
No, my lord.
Where were they at that stage?
They were outside, even the yard, at the parking space.
Uma sengimbuyisela ke abazange bangene ke babe ngaphandle la kuphaka khona imoto.
But when they followed you from the pointing space, arena,
Yes, my lord.
and accompanied you towards the police station,
Yes.
were they close to you at the back?
No, my lord.
Guarding you, where were they?
They were at the back, almost 3-4 cars in between. That distance.
Babesilandela ke uma sesibuyela khona ke e-police station emuva ke pointing out kodwa ke kubanga ongathi ke kwangaba nezimoto eziwu3 eziwu4 phakathi kwethu.
Okay. Any questions arising?
There's only one question. My lord, it relates to Mr. Colonel Khatebe.
Hello?
Sorry? Arising from the bench questions.
Yes, arising from.
It relates to the evidence that you gave to say when Mr. Sibia was taken out of the cell, you said those metropolis were not in the vicinity, were not in that CSC office.
I never said that.
When he was taken out of the cell,
By myself.
by yourself, was it by
I
yourself?
said when I entered the CSC,
The
there were
metropolis were there.
Metropolis people there.
Yes,
And I made arrangement and the sergeant came to open for me.
that's correct.
And I took Mr. Sibia.
Yes,
Those people walked out.
they walked out.
Yes.
So in,
Engikushoyo ke ukuthi mina ke mangiyongena ke la mangena lapha e-charge office babe khona ke laba be-EMPD ipolice lazongivulela ke uma sengiphuma ke labo bantu labo baphuma.
my question is, when he was inside, before you took him out, was he in a position to see if there were EMPD officers outside, Mr. Sibia? Was he in that position to see?
That they were outside when?
Next to the cell.
Yes, you could see, you can see that where he's sitting in the cell. These people are here, here's the CSC. So it's almost in one space.